Good evening and welcome to our breaking news coverage. Former acting ICE Director Tom Homan is making headlines yet again, this time taking direct aim at Boston's Democratic leadership over their stance on immigration enforcement. In a fiery statement, Homan has issued a stern warning declaring that Boston could be the next major city to see an immigration raid. His remarks come as tensions continue to rise between federal immigration officials and sanctuary cities across the country. We break down his explosive comments, the historical context behind this clash, and what this could mean for the future of immigration enforcement in the United States. During a heated television appearance, Tom Homan did not hold back in criticizing Boston Mayor Michelle Wu and her administration's stance on immigration policies. Homan accused the city of harboring illegal immigrants under the guise of sanctuary policies, which, according to him, put American citizens at risk. His boldest remark, however, came when he stated, quote, "We're raiding Boston next." The statement quickly sparked reactions across the political spectrum, with conservatives applauding his firm stance on immigration enforcement, while progressives and immigrant rights advocates condemned his rhetoric as fear-mongering. So, what exactly did he mean by this statement? Was this a formal declaration of an upcoming crackdown, or was it meant as a symbolic warning to sanctuary cities nationwide? To understand this, we must first look at the larger issue of sanctuary cities and their history in the United States. The term sanctuary city dates back to the 1980s, when religious groups and activists in the U.S. sought to protect Central American refugees fleeing civil wars. Over time, the movement evolved, and cities across the country began implementing policies to shield undocumented immigrants from federal immigration enforcement. Today, more than 100 jurisdictions, including major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Boston, have adopted some form of sanctuary policy. Boston, in particular, has been at the center of this battle. Mayor Michelle Wu has maintained a strong stance in favor of protecting undocumented immigrants, aligning her policies with those of other Democratic-led cities that have vowed to resist federal immigration enforcement efforts. Under her leadership, Boston has adopted several measures aimed at limiting cooperation with ICE, including prohibiting local law enforcement from inquiring about immigration status or assisting with federal deportation efforts. This isn't the first time Tom Homan has clashed with Democratic leadership over sanctuary city policies. Throughout his tenure with ICE, and even after leaving office, he has been one of the most vocal critics of jurisdictions that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. His stance is clear. Immigration laws exist for a reason, and those who break them should face consequences. Homan and other immigration hardliners argue that such policies make cities less safe by allowing undocumented immigrants, including those with criminal records, to remain in the country without fear of deportation. He has long advocated for aggressive enforcement actions, including high-profile raids, to send a message that immigration laws must be upheld. Critics, however, argue that such policies create unnecessary panic and disproportionately target marginalized communities. Homan's comments have ignited a fierce political debate. Republican lawmakers and immigration hardliners have rallied behind him, arguing that strong enforcement is necessary to curb illegal immigration and maintain law and order. Many conservatives believe that sanctuary policies undermine national security and create an incentive for more illegal border crossings. On the other side, Democratic leaders and immigration advocates have blasted Homan's remarks as inflammatory and dangerous. Mayor Wu's office released a statement reaffirming Boston's commitment to being a welcoming city for all residents, regardless of immigration status. The mayor's allies argue that such enforcement tactics sow fear among immigrant communities, making it harder for individuals to report crimes or seek legal assistance. Public reaction has been mixed. Some residents support Homan's tough-on-immigration approach, while others worry that his words could lead to unnecessary panic and racial profiling. Social media has been flooded with discussions on both sides, with hashtags like #StandWithBoston and Enforce the Law trending nationwide. To understand the possible ramifications of Homan's statement, it is essential to look at previous large-scale ICE raids. During the Trump administration, multiple cities saw coordinated raids, leading to the arrest and deportation of thousands of undocumented immigrants. Some of the most notable raids took place in Mississippi, where nearly 700 individuals were detained in one of the largest workplace immigration enforcement actions in U.S. history. While these raids were celebrated by those advocating for strict immigration enforcement, they also led to widespread fear among immigrant communities. Many families were torn apart, and local economies suffered as businesses lost a significant portion of their workforce overnight. If Boston is indeed the next target, similar outcomes can be expected. Beyond the political and enforcement aspects, another key factor in this debate is the legal battle that often ensues following major ICE operations. Civil rights organizations, immigrant advocacy groups, and even some local governments frequently step in to challenge federal actions in court. Historically, lawsuits have been filed against ICE and the federal government over claims of unconstitutional detentions, racial profiling, and unlawful arrests. In Boston, legal aid organizations are preparing for any potential wave of enforcement actions. Lawyers and community leaders are working to ensure that immigrants understand their rights, including protections against warrantless searches and the ability to seek legal counsel. Advocacy groups are also mobilizing resources, preparing rapid response teams to provide assistance in case of raids. The immigration debate in the U.S. is far from over, and as political tides shift, policies can change dramatically. If the Biden administration faces increasing pressure from conservatives, we could see a tougher stance on sanctuary cities. Conversely, if Democrats maintain or gain political power in upcoming elections, we might see expanded protections for undocumented immigrants. Additionally, the outcome of Boston's handling of this situation could set a precedent for other sanctuary cities across the country. If Mayor Wu successfully resists federal enforcement actions, other Democratic-led cities may follow suit. On the other hand, if Boston faces significant legal or financial challenges as a result, it could deter other cities from adopting similar policies in the future. Across Boston, grassroots organizations are mobilizing in response to Homan's remarks. Community leaders are organizing Know Your Rights workshops, emergency hotlines, and legal aid networks to help individuals navigate potential encounters with ICE. Religious groups and local nonprofits are also stepping in, providing sanctuary spaces for those at risk of deportation. These efforts reflect a broader nationwide movement where local communities are taking proactive steps to resist immigration enforcement and support their immigrant populations. Whether these initiatives will be enough to counter federal enforcement efforts remains to be seen. Tom Homan's latest comments have once again brought the nation's immigration debate into the spotlight. Whether his statement was merely rhetoric or a preview of actual enforcement action, the message is clear. The battle over sanctuary cities is far from over. As federal and local officials continue to clash, the fate of thousands of undocumented immigrants hangs in the balance. We will continue to monitor this developing story and bring you updates as they unfold. Stay tuned to our channel for the latest news and analysis. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay informed on this and other critical topics. For now, this is signing off. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Amazing Stories.